Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry, everybody. The summer is almost over, or at least the hottest days of the summer are almost over. Although with the climate change, who knows? The hottest days might be leading up until mid-November. Who knows? But by tradition, some of the worst hot days are going to be here, hypothetically, behind us. I'm so glad everyone is being able to get through the summer. Well, we got through the winter, but the summer as well, especially. I'm glad you guys are. I hope you guys are keeping cool as best as you can. I'm so glad you guys have been able to make this reading series as week after week or month after month, however you're able to do it. Appreciate you guys being steadfast and loyal, and I appreciate you coming out to someone who's debuting at Stone Soup for the first time. This isn't her first reading. This is not her first poem, far from it, but she's someone who I've wanted to have here for a long time. If you've been lucky to go to the either online or live Boston Poetry Marathons over the last couple of years, you may have sampled her work amongst 149 other poets and have her work stand out. And her work is also available in a multitude of places. So we are very glad to have Stephanie Kaylor featuring us tonight. You can give your virtual round of applause now and maybe a real one later. I'm very much looking forward to this. And like we've had a couple, like I said, when we were offline or not doing the official recording, we've had a couple of snafus. So everyone's been a great sport waiting. So we don't want to keep you waiting anymore. Thanks for the little party hat emoji, Cody. And if Cody or if anyone else who's new to our reading series wants to read themselves, just let me know in the chat. And I'll add you onto the list. So with that, from the open micers, judging by how they came on and just how I feel like placing people today, I've created an open mic list, and the first one to go on is he's been my signature opener, I think, for most of definitely most of the summer. He's usually the first one on, aside from Ethan, who likes to help close out the open mic. And moreover, he is one of the first virtual friends that we had, and he had his virtual feature earlier this year. Let's welcome up Mr. John Wesick.
Thank you, Chad. I am waiting for the Budweiser bullfrogs, and I am waiting for a Tammy Faye of mustard, and I am waiting for somebody to really cash back bacon pancakes and porpoises, and I am waiting for the cash bakery of a new symbolic Stetson hoop skirt, and I am waiting for the bacon and pancakes to really spread their Starbucks, and I am waiting for the menopause of anxiety, and I am waiting for the war to be fought, which will make the world a bank machine. And I am waiting for the final withering away of all segways and crosswalks. And I am perpetually waiting a Tammy Faye of mustard. I am waiting for the second Pornhub, and I am waiting for a religious ER to sweep through the state of fossil fuel. And I am waiting for the corks of cortisol to be stored. And I am waiting for them to prove the granite slabs are really bacon and pancakes, and I am waiting to see granite slabs on Pat Sajak, roach clipped onto church altars if only they can find the ripe maple syrup, and I am waiting for the leftover shumai to be served again with a strange new tablespoon, and I am perpetually awaiting a Tammy Faye of mustard. I am waiting for my hypotenuse to be called, and I am waiting for Bodhisattva fatigue to take over, and I am waiting for the accountants to be crucified and inherit the diamonds without phishing attacks, and I am waiting for needles and Brill cream to reclaim the diamonds as theirs, and I am waiting for a way to be devised to destroy all sopranos without bridging anybody, and I am waiting for hash browns and neutron stars to fall like hydrogen, and I am waiting for Benifer and the Aflac duck to lie down together again in a new Tammy Faye of mustard. I am waiting for the tire swing to be crossed, and I am anxiously waiting for the secret of undersea radishes to be cash backed by an obscure Gomer Pyle, and I am waiting to introduce a Viking to happiness, and I am waiting for a reconstructed Orlok to reach bacon and pancakes with its picture story, and Pat Sajak bites sold in advance as spam sushi, and I am waiting for the Beatles' White Album to sound again in the dialogues of Plato and a new Tammy Faye of mustard. I am waiting for the sundial that makes all things clear, and I am waiting retribution for what bacon and pancakes did to Mississippi rafts, and I am waiting for Alice in Birdland to retransmit to me her total alchemy of innocence, and I am waiting for escargot to come to the final darkest temptations, and I am waiting for sulfuric acid to grow pistols by the pepper mill and a new Tammy Faye of mustard. I am waiting to get some intimations of Uruk by recollecting all my S&H green stamps, and I am waiting for the ultraviolet mornings to come again, and I am waiting for some ankle of unpremeditated art to share my kilt, and I am waiting to write summer camp clothing labels, and I am waiting for the last long careless leftover, and I am potentially waiting to be dewormed lovers in Grecian formula to the last throw fastballs and embrace, and I am awaiting perpetually and forever for a renaissance of mustard.
As long as you don't put the S&H green stamps on the pancakes and bacon.
Oh, God.
Damn
Where do you
straight.
get Tammy Faye mustard?
There's a lot to unlock in that, John. But of course, my brain is like, wait, go back. Second Pornhub? Are there any unanswered fetishes a second Pornhub would need? Save that for the sites that only have numbers and slashes in their names. Save those for the deep internet journeys and don't share them on
Good
Facebook.
point. Dark web, buddy.
There you go. Good God.
There we
I don't know if I'd want to see an antimatter Pornhub. Anyway.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks, Patricia.
Thanks, Patricia.
Up next, I was going to say Jan Rowe, but unfortunately, it looks like she might be out of commission. I can ask her to unmute, but it doesn't seem like that's going to work. So Jan, just signal us if you're ready again. For now, let's welcome up woman always quick with a poem, a new published haiku, or apparently a mustard endorsement. Let's welcome up Patricia Kerrigan.
No mustard in this poem. So going through my manuscript, I found this poem and I rewrote the ending. So here we go. It's all music-based, jazz. Speak Low, inspired by Billie Holiday. The breeze speaks low, speaks loud of the ocean's love for the bay. Cools the summer heat on my head. On the bay, a diamond galaxy, a sun's reflection, nature in love with herself. The tide rises clockwise, jazz beats on the terrain. A ship sails under the bridge. My mind wanders in the opposite direction, thinks of what was and what should have been. Love picks her favorites, plays hard to get. Time is old, hides her age, but young enough to steal my happiness. The sun will shine on the moon tonight, but lunar moods swing in cycles. I'm not like the moon. My cycles bleed, eggs lost in darkness. In my head, I hear Lady Day sing. What I thought was love turns to ash on the shore. Thank you.
Well, for a poem without any mustard reference in there, that was really good, Pat. Patricia, thank you so much. I think I was running a contest for who had the best poem with mustard references, but John may be taking the gold unless someone can come around the bend with something with more mustard references. At any rate, let us welcome up one of our first phone poets. This next poet is coming up, has been with us almost since the beginning of Stone Soup's run online, which seems like it might be extending into September. I don't want that to happen, but I don't see much choice in the matter unless people are saying that they're willing to meet. If we meet, maybe I'll film an appearance from one or two poets and broadcast it from the gallery, which is still interested in having us. But enough on that for now. We're going to bring up now the first of our phone poets joining us via the telephone. And I'm going to ask her to press *6. Let's welcome up Nancy Dodson.
Summer's heat. A street burns with fiery heat. A warming wind blows the heat along mildly. Rain, rain, refreshment is needed for the thirsty ground. Fast flying clouds, let the flowers drink. Come on, jewels of the summer, drink and lift your flowery heads. Sweet flowers relish the sun and rain. Delight in your short-term bloom. The sea's joys reflect the circle of our days in the fire that heats. Rain, rain, refreshment is needed for the thirsty ground.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Let's see, we have one or two people joining us. I'm putting you on the mic as need be, especially if you're a regular here. Welcome, Bill. And up next, let's bring up the man I call our orator extraordinaire, the guy who can recite anything off the top of his head. Whether it's Emily Dickinson poem, a presidential speech, or a Miley Cyrus rap. Let's welcome up Mr. John Sturm.
Hello, Chad.
Yes, hello, sir.
Oh, on the wrong page here. Sorry about that. That should do it.
Might want to move your camera a little bit like this, just to get to your, oh, there you go.
All righty. Martin Luther King, letter from a Birmingham jail. Too long for this, so an introduction and two selections from it. My dear fellow clergymen, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling my present activities unwise and untimely. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow provincial outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. You deplore the demonstrations taking place in Birmingham, but your statement, I am sorry to say, fails to express a similar concern for the conditions that brought about the demonstration. I am sure that none of you would want to rest content with the superficial kind of social analysis that deals merely with effects and does not grapple with underlying causes. But again, I am thankful to God that some noble souls from the ranks of organized religion have broken loose from the paralyzing chains of conformity and joined us as active partners in the struggle for freedom. They have left their secure congregations and walked the streets with us. They have gone down the highways of the South on torturous rides for freedom. Yes, they have gone to jail with us. Some have been dismissed from their churches, have lost the support of their bishops and fellow ministers, but they have acted in the faith that right defeated is stronger than evil triumphant. Their witness has been the spiritual soul that has preserved the true meaning of the gospel in these troubled times. They have carved a tunnel of hope through the mountain of disappointment. I hope that the church as a whole will meet the challenge of this decisive hour. But even if the church does not come to the aid of justice, I have no despair about the future. I have no fear about the outcome of our struggle in Birmingham, even if our motives at present are misunderstood. We will reach the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over the nation, because the goal of America is freedom. So wrote Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you very much, John. See who we have next. Yes. Let's see. We won't be able to see her, so I'll put this on gallery view. And up next, we have the second of our third people on the call tonight, phoning us from parts unknown. I'm going to help her unmute. This next person was a regular at Stone Soup, the first person to receive the Jack Powers Stone Soup Saver Poetry Prize back umpteen years ago. And she still participates at Stone Soup whenever she can. Let's welcome up Laurel Lambert. Laurel, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Lost?
Yes.
I know, I'm starting, John.
I'm telling you, Laurel, we can hear you.
Lost in a river. Bodies everywhere. A movie I saw many, many years ago called Missing. What is real and what is not real? Listen, listen, listen. And the tree was cut down. And the river was bloodied. Lost in a river. Fermented orange juice in the refrigerator. Broken eggs. What is real and what is not real? Colors exploding everywhere. The flag. Do you remember when the flag was burnt? Do you remember Vietnam soldiers returning from war being spit on? Which way is it? War or peace? What do we want? Do we want peace or do we want war? Bodies in a river. A movie I saw many, many years ago called Missing. What is real? Is there a difference from murdering a civilian or murdering a soldier? Peace is possible. What is real and what is not real?
Thank you so much, Laurel. Sorry for the little echo there, guys. Who do we have next on the open mic? Laurel is on the same phone line as Carol Weston. We'll be hearing from Carol towards the end. But first, let's bring up the anti-Shakespeare. John is usually the Shakespearean verse reciter, and I didn't know we needed an anti-Shakespeare point of view, but this person likes to provide that. So let's bring up, I don't know if that's his shtick tonight, but let's welcome him all the same, Mr. Chris Fitzgerald.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
And it wasn't an anti-Shakespeare, it was an anti-assassination of my favorite friggin' president. That's what it was about. It wasn't nothing to do with Shakespeare.
I know, I'm just joking.
I know. All right. First week of September, second week of September, growing up in grammar school, I went to parochial schools with the nun. We always had to write an essay, what I did during my summer vacation. And I was always contrarian. So this is called What I Did Before My Summer Vacation. I ended last week with my impeachment as fourth grade class president and thought I'd do the fifth and sixth grade this week, but I get kept back. Not in real life, I was always promoted. But since the title of this is Inquiry into the Supposition that there is nothing you can name that is better than a dame, and I did introduce a girl who sat in front of me who I stated I made her laugh all year long, well, I thought I'd explore that relationship a little more. If I hadn't started writing this piece, I have no idea how many years would have passed before I discovered what a beautiful time I had in that fourth grade. Not that things have gone downhill since. I've always been very fortunate. First off, I never kissed her. I was 9, she was 9. Among my friends at the time, it wasn't really socially acceptable to admit of the possibility of being capable of liking a girl. Sixth grade was when that door was open, although even the fourth, everyone knew something was going on. Fourth grade was baseball and football and the strictly boyish games. One couldn't walk a girl home from school. I can just see myself leaving the schoolyard with her at the end of the day, running into my friends. Hey, Chris, where you going? Aren't you coming with us? Tackle down the beach? No, I'm going to the library. That big spelling test Wednesday. I want to be prepared. Are you going with her? Yes, I am. But she's a girl. I don't care what she is. All I know, she's one good speller. Show the fellas. Onomatopoeia. I can hear her now. ONOMATOPOEIA. My friend's gasping and all. She's good, Chris. Damn right she's good. So much for the redo and spent time. Instead, I had to be content with whatever pleasures offered to me from this early relationship. Not quite family, not quite friend. On Sunday at church, 8 o'clock mass, you were not placed in the school seating arrangements. It was the girls who sat in the first 3 or 4 pews and the boys sat behind. No one was in uniform. I remember seeing her on Sundays. I just hope she got half as much pleasure out of seeing me as I got from seeing her. A little something no one else knew about. Wow, what a face. At school, the things we would laugh about, variables off a root story we had agreed upon early in the schoolyard as mutually humorous. No doubt, to my mind, this was a joint creative effort. What would have happened if I had kissed her? Well, my whole life would have been different. Time I gave to Foxy, Buck, tackled on the beach would have been seriously imposed upon. But my inability to be myself. In those days, I was being fed and housed and spoken to in an authoritative manner. Well, they call themselves mom and dad, as I recall, would have put a crimp in my ability to express myself. A relationship can't be real and growing unless its participants are real and growing. So if I had kissed her, instead of being a poet who recites his work in the city of Cambridge on Monday nights, I'd probably be, to hazard a guess, a reindeer herdsman in Lapland. Yo, Blitzen, what the fuck? What am I talking to myself late night, the whole bit? And I have to put up with this? You do know that Terry the taxidermist and I exchange Christmas gifts every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And up next, if you were able to attend the Boston Poetry Marathon, hopefully you caught this person's lovely 8-minute set on that 2 Friday nights ago. And you can catch her every week here at Stone Soup. I'm going to unmute her now. I'm so glad that she's been with us nearly every reading here. Let's welcome up Carol Weston.
Hi.
Hello.
The housekeeper's boyfriend. She pushed the mop and the floors shone, and her heart sang as she dreamed of one she cared for, who cared for her, without which piece of meaning life is just alone. He who cared for her felt too this piece of meaning, without which life is just alone, and he wanted to give her the world. He tried and tried He couldn't get the world for her, and he had nothing to give. He wanted to kill himself, but that was not enough. To more profoundly die, he had to kill the piece of meaning without which life is dust alone. So he shot the one he cared for, who cared for him, because he could not give her the world. Thank you.
Beautiful, Carol.
Thank you, Carol. Wonderful as always.
Lovely.
So glad you're with us. And up next, now for something completely different. This man has been traveling abroad and still joining us for Stone Soup readings. He spent at least a month and a half, I think, in Iowa. What it felt like that long, helping with his family, working on a house, working on a farm, working with a variety of animals. And now he is back with us, back in Canterbury, and back with us, hopefully with a strong connection. Let's welcome up. Oh, he's leaving. Oh, here he goes. Bill Lewis, everyone. Bill Lewis. Patricia's going crazy, Bill. You missed it. Bill Lewis, everyone.
I forgot that I had to plug in a microphone. I got my microphone. I've got a really cool red microphone, so I like this thing. And it sounds like hell if I don't. Can you hear behind me the roosters cock-a-doodle doing, the chickens buck, 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 and the two little chicks? Remember the two little chicks I was showing you? They all go like, and you can't even tell which direction it's coming from. Have you ever noticed that with chicks? Little chicks that are this big, that when they do that, it's like it comes from every direction. It's like, they're all gone. Oliver, my sweet, gorgeous pussy cat, who claws me to shreds because he likes being petted so much, is gone. He's not here with me in Cambridge. I'm all alone. Poor me. The horses would kick the hay bucket when it was 4 o'clock, because that was the feeding time. Sandy better get his Alf out there and throw some hay into that thing. And now nothing. Oh well, so I'm just complaining. Cambridge has its advantages, I think. But such is that life. Or actually, I was thinking about death. So it was pointed out to me at some point that the human being is one of the only animals that dies from old age. Everyone else gets eaten. Everyone gets eaten. Sooner or later, you know. You will only borrow your body parts, and your spirit, it simply goes. It might be by a crocodile or by a lion quite ferocious. More likely worms and little germs will return you to the earth. There's nothing evil in this path. It's simply Mother Nature. When you're gone, the room you leave will make room for someone other. Now's no time to fret or worry. Your destiny is clear. You'll be feeding worms with me within 100 years. There, that's my poem for the day. I wrote that just for you, Chad.
And here I thought your opening was going to be, can you hear behind me the kitty purring?
Oh, that would have been a good idea. The recording stopped. What did I do wrong? Did I break something?
You broke Chad. Chad's gone.
Oh no.
Chad disappeared.
Yeah.
Chad, you weren't so bad. I could have lived with you for another day, but now you're gone. There's nothing to do. We'll have to eat some hay.
Oh, blame it on the cat. Everybody's
So
talking about the
terribly
cat.
sad.
A comment about worms, man.
Maybe it's time for Ethan to serenade us.
He's the host now. He can do that.
I like
Ah.
that. Go, Ethan.
What happened to Chad?
He got eaten by something.
Yeah, he didn't wait for old age to get the bucket. Somebody ate him.
Yeah, I think his internet must have just kicked out or something.
Oh, the internet ate him. Yeah, that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I saw a movie.
Chad has to be back.
You better play now while you can, Ethan.
All right. I mean, there's no one else for the open mic yet who hasn't gone yet?
I think
No? All right.
Nancy Dobson didn't go. Dobson didn't go.
Yeah, she did.
She
Yes,
did?
All right. So can everyone hear me? All right. So if you would all be so kind to mute yourselves.
Yay, Ethan.
Bravo, bravo.
Oh, Chad's back.
Can you guys hear me? Hear me?
Yep. Hey, Chad.
Okay, perfect.
Ethan just played, and Bill finished up his poem as well.
Yeah, it was very strange. I was on the whole time because I could hear on the phone, but then somehow my computer ran out of power because I was plugged into a strip, and the strip wasn't turned on. It was one of those deals where you turn it on and off. So I got screwed up and I hibernated. But this good thing seems to be that at least most of the recording most of the recordings seem to have has been saved. At least I hope that's the case. But at any rate, we do have the we do have at least the first half saved. So this is going to be quite a mismatch from hell, but I'm so glad this worked out. So let us welcome you all to Stone Soup Poetry, and be glad that a computer that gets turned off does not stop the meeting for everyone, which was my biggest fear. So I did get to hear the end of Bill's piece, and I did get to hear Ethan's riffs. So I hope those did get saved as part of the Zoom call. It is saving the first half right now and processing into video. So this will be an interesting match to figure out. Let's see. Who do we have up now? Looks like we do have one person joining us up for the open mic, and I don't know, while I get my bearings straight, if you would be interested in doing the last open mic for the night. Mr. CC Ashagra, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me? There it is. Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi, CC, the forum is yours while I regain my senses and beg God to have this computer work for a half hour more.
Okay, thank you. I for the very first time in a long time, I'm going to be doing a show for my birthday on Sunday at the Buttonwood Tree, and I'm going to be reading my children's work, and my friend from 40 years ago is going to show up and do the some of my children's nursery rhyme songs with me. And then I'm going to read from my book that's coming out, the 20-year anniversary one, and I'm bringing back my two guys from Funk Physics, my poetry art band. And then I'm going to do what's called the free speech individuals for my new project, the Human Room Open Voice. But I'm going to begin the whole thing by remembering Brother Blue, because I love and I miss Brother Blue. I don't know how many people know him. And this is a book that was put out by, I forget who the publisher was. I think his name was Stephen, but I'm going to go right to it. And even though the venue is not going to announce it officially on their mailing list till tomorrow, I'll put some information preliminary before it's green lighted by the venue host about the thing. And I'm going to try and stream it to a new YouTube channel for the Human Room Open Voice. But this is a back in the day at Stone Soup, I showed up with a camera and I started taking photographs. So I have like about 100 photographs of people, that just headshots of all the poets from that day. And I eventually called that In the Key of Listen photograph project. I forget what it was called. But then I started writing portrait poems. And then I wrote one about Ed Sanders was the first one. The one sort of about Jack Powers ended up in the book, Scared Sacred. And then I wrote one about Brother Blue. So this is Brother Blue, the storyteller, in the Key of Listen, from his tribute book that was put out for him and Ruth, for those of you that know that sacred man. First, the sky shakes, and then it fills with fine fools, wearing light hearts and spirited wings. Then the good mother mud of earth rises through his soul being, and here come all of the children on this world of ears and eyes as they witness life lifting from his butterfly palms. Then still as a universe moving, he soul showers you from the spirit of his ageless heart onto all your happiness soul hungry. Here, listening souls vibrate, and the sky wings come round and on down to give him his barefoot earth voice. A story, improvised, begins to dance. God arrives dressed as nobody and wants no thing, accepting the skin of everyone and all the hope of every child. Brother Blue, the storyteller, a very, very sacred man. For those of you that got to breathe air that he was breathing, that's a portrait poem of a beautiful man. I'm going to begin it with that, and then I'm going to read some children's poems, nursery rhymes. and then the book, and then collection, and then funk physics. And then you're all welcome to be a part of the Human Room Open Voice free speech individual. You could speak your mind, and there's going to be a link on how to do that should you attend. And if you find the YouTube subscribe thing, I'll put that out, and you'll at least be able to I'll probably just stream it there. I don't know if it'll be, I don't think I have the technology or time to put together the Zoom meeting, but I'm happy I made it, and I'm looking forward to hearing Stephanie, and I'm sorry to hear that there's an audio glitch. I mean, a video record glitch, and hopefully it saved. So hi, everyone, and thank you, and I love you all.
Thanks, CC. Let's see what we have now. Oh, good. All right, so we're good to go. And thank you again, Ethan, and to Bill for keeping everything going. Hopefully the video saved all of that. And hopefully there's not another snafu. This feature has been a long time coming. And I've tried to ask Stephanie to come to Stone Soup before, but things didn't work out because she was in the middle of either school or traveling or both, or traveling to school, what have you. And a lot of things have happened over the last few months, to say the least. A lot of outbursts of violence, incredible behavior, and I've since then tried to go to poets who I think would be very effective in at least having work that can comment and represent the violence, can talk about the violence or represent the victims of violence. That I've been noticing and witnessing since, April, although the violence has been happening well before then. It just seemed to kick up a notch because, well, America started to go back to doing what it does best, unfortunately. But Stephanie Kaylor, I'm so glad, has moved back to New York and was able to agree to this feature. Just sorry the video is just going to be a patchwork mess by the time it gets up on YouTube tomorrow. But the most important part is the feature tonight, and that's about to start as soon as I read her boilerplate bio, which every poet dreams of hearing read back to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie Kaylor is a PhD student in feminist studies at UC Santa Barbara and reviews editor at Glass, a journal of poetry. They completed their MA in Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies in the University of Albany and were a participant of the Tin House Summer Workshop. Her most recent and forthcoming work can be found in publications including Protean Magazine, Flypaper Lit, and Beestone. If you go to her Twitter, there's links to her work, and I try to include links to her work in Facebook as well. If you've never heard her work before, you're in for a surprise. For those of you who have, then you know why you're here. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put your video cameras on and put your hands together at least 30 to 40 times for Stephanie, who is bravely dealing with a very oddly acting stove in her apartment. And she's very brave to keep on doing this. Don't light a match and keep the window open.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's why I'm currently in my bed. Some of you who turned in early may have heard. But yes, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to Chad for having me. As I mentioned when I first logged on tonight, I lived in Boston for 1 year. I've moved around a lot, but the Stone Soup readings were definitely a highlight of my time there. And this was some years ago, but just the community facilitated and fostered there. It's really inspiring and meant a lot to me personally too. So just thank you to Chad and thank you more generally. I'm going to start with a series of poems I've been working on, or a few of them. It's from a project I've been working on called Interview with a Sex Worker, and not to do the whole thing where I'm giving more time and backstory than actually writing poems, but so a lot of the work I do, like as you heard, my background is in feminist studies, looking at various things, including labor and sex workers' rights. And like about 10 years ago, there was much less visibility on this topic than there is today. And it could almost be like even more of a spectacle. So if you were an advocate, not even like out as a worker, it would be very voyeuristic, and people would ask you a lot of questions and like, oh, a real life worker, like she just seems like a normal girl, but she also has this. And today there are like, you know, gains and losses from the visibility that's happened over recent years. But anyway, yeah, so I'm looking a lot at how just the relationship between worker and how they're treated by media and the general public more as an object. And I guess I'll get started, so don't keep rambling. Yes, so this first one is entitled, How Did You Get Started in This Work? In this story, I am meant to tell you of the men I met in parking lots. It is night, and it is going to be raining, though I do not know the science behind the smell of rain. Though I do not know how I could discern the sweat-stained shirt collar in the dark. In this story, I am meant to tell you that I became empowered by my boundaries, that I learned to say enough yeses until my tongue could no longer trace memories of the hollowness of no. In this story, I am meant to. In this story, I am you. In this chokehold, in this chiffon, in this Cadillac, in this camera, in this denim, in this daydream, in this truck stop, in this treasure. In this story, I am you, hopping in a stranger's car, telling him where to go. How does it affect your dating life? On Twitter, people joke about getting a doctorate in OnlyFans studies. At dinners, I drink too much wine until my lips chap. Once, I made poetry from the discomfort, recited it like a verse, as if I were holy. Why must we ask and tell what we do to make money? Why can't we speak of our passions, our hobbies, the questions that keep us up at night? Lately, I've only been kept up by the lack of benzos, by the insomnia, by the same questions, what will come tomorrow? If there were someone beside me, I'd say, isn't it funny how you can work from bed and still be so tired after? The joke being that there's never an after. A doctor who once beat me texts me late one night and asks, "Are you hurting yourself again?" Lately, I neither ask nor answer, reciting silence, mouthing it wholly. Do you ever like it? A celebrity I have not heard of talks of how she made an OnlyFans, how it is the one space in which she knows she won't be bullied or harassed. And I remember the faceless man on top of me, how he tells me he's seen me before, how I do not remember, how I have learned to pretend. He tells me he hears a little lisp, though theck thee, how I have learned to laugh, unscathed by my crooked teeth, like a silk rose in late November, each petal a fragment of a poem, lingering above the motel bed, immaculate, a cloud. How I try to collect each one when the men walk out the door, tiring too quickly, laying back and letting linger whatever snow on this tongue too long, a tongue untamed. Tell us about the other girls you work with. At 14, I sat alone in front of the television as a documentary on Marilyn Monroe came on. It wouldn't be until years later that I would learn of the male gaze. Like everyone else, I had already known of it, of course, the flesh of it, but not these abstractions that to want, some argued, meant to side with man. I still don't know all I want, mostly remembering the shock. A woman as beautiful as this, addicted to that. On my 24th birthday, I learned that she died 50 years ago to the day. I later read it was the day after that she died, that this is what goes down in the books by men, the history by men, the files signed off and marked completed. Instead of what happened to her, it is how they found her when she was seen that goes as public record. What's the most men you've seen in a single day? My back on the floor and I tilt away, windward from the storm of it all. I never meant to be too small, and still the walls there and close, out of reach. In them, the doctor, the echo. There is nothing inside of you for it to hold on to. How I knew my daughter belonged only to her mother. My back on the table, and I want to tongue the decadence of no, suck the roundness out of its shell, head tilted back upon a laugh, as if it's ever shucked out of all its grit. I choke a man out my throat, unscathed as a pearl, rolling down the 4th floor stairs and into the city night when the other woman find me. Imagine if that had happened to someone smaller, one says. What would you say to other girls who are considering it? Thus, you are 29 for a lifetime. As you said, you were 24 for a lifetime before. Thus, the lover who has not once been tested begins to imagine sores ricocheting through every movement of your tongue. Thus, you are murdered, and it is not considered a crime. And when it is classified as no human involved. Thus, the only way in which the civilians feel safe with you around their children is as a ghost, a warning to ward off the could also be dead. Thus, you are rendered invisible every day. Thus, you are called hypervisible. But it is never you, not even on the screen when you read the user comments one night and witness the speculation. She was so out of it. She must have been on something hard. Do you regret it? Somewhere there is a lineup at this very moment. Yes, even at this hour. Steak and eggs, coffee and head, a man once said when I asked him, why so early? Somewhere there is this lineup. A woman will be picked or she will not. These days in the desert, the men come so rarely that the 12-hour shifts turn into always being on call, helping one another out of bed, even or when the bell rings. Someone is always sleeping, but still she rises. It will never be the right choice. Too tired to work, haven't gotten enough work, should have left last week, should have come in early, should be working solo again, should have pinned my hair up, should have bought another pack of cigarettes, should have tried harder with, should be going home to, should try harder to forget the, should get another coffee, ashamed to be unfazed by the smell of broiling meat. What do you regret? The days I'm tired after bed because my bed is my office and I recall its etymology pertaining to moral duty, performance of a task. The days I think what it means to go to bed after that, how I dream myself into the cigarette smoke within the office of a man, languid in a mustard yellow couch, how it is always yellow, the filter of the photo that makes the present appear past, even when it's not. I do not see him or his face, only know that he is a man because of his silence. Trauma, the chorus proclaims, is no one's fault, but it is your own responsibility to deal with. Like a child asking why they were born, developing into the teenager, resentful of the fact. I want to throw my hands into the air, but instead I'm on my back and bring them behind me. How a simple change of position turns frustration into ecstasy. How here one learns that they are the same, only viewed from different angles. Sure, my body is an office I did not want, and I use it to scroll through oblivion and read my allies tell me. Sex workers don't develop mental illness at work, but may turn to the work because of their illness. And I remember how, as children, we were fed images of ghosts existing beneath white sheets. In the mornings, I sleep through the knocks on my door, the complimentary breakfast buffet. I learn that this is so. Maybe it is my mental illness that makes me want to say no. But even the fights against stigma wouldn't release me from these white walls. Their slowness or the aloneness of fake art making a mockery of my scenes. The city map reprints, art of portraiture as my legs around his neck is true authenticity. Though in Feminist Studies 501, I am told it is truly me who is there, my authenticity bonded to the dollar. I don't always do the reading. Some nights I simply go back to my own bed from the hotel bed to dream of another bed in which I could afford another life. Now that we've heard everything, any final remarks? A writer tweets, "You're in her DMs. I'm in her works cited page. We are not the same." After writing an article on how to decolonize one's mind for a journal behind a paywall. Another takes a list of names of massacre from the Global Studies 101 Week 4 PowerPoint, the wiki page, the viral tweet, Control-C plus Control-V, plus the grace through which they name themselves the author, copyright 2017. Well, they are lauded for their innovation, shadow ban sex workers on social media, name the US senators who voted in favor of a federal bill that removed our advertising sites, our blacklist sites, our safety tip sites, our review sites in one fell swoop, and in doing so, they name all but 2. This list is not a poem. The clients, red-faced and balding, observing that now they can get us to do anything they want on the cheap, are not a poem. The managers, the pimps. In Feminist Studies 502, a student looked up in shock when I used this word, not knowing what would happen if I didn't use it to refer to one of the men I worked for, how it contradicted the book chapter written by another ally. The establishment owners reaching out to say they'll only take 40% of our earnings are not a poem. The dead friends, the "I guess I don't need a condom this time. I never do this though, 8 times a week." The hotel receptionists trained to spot you and have the same men back in badges come to take you away. I no longer say I'm not just a sex worker. I no longer worry about line breaks. I let my objections run off the page. I cling to I when I can. I bring back the pieces taken time and time again by the onlooking writers, the scholars, the social workers, by everyone who cannot speak from the community of we. Community means we say we want to live even when we don't. Community means we say we want to live because we know we'll find a way. Thank you.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. What, 40 to 50 more times for Stephanie. That was an amazing set, Stephanie. And is there the one question I didn't hear you answer? Is there a book collection coming on the way? Is there a manuscript?
That's the goal. I need to get around to that. These are all from a chapbook manuscript right now, and then I'm working on a full length. I actually don't have any chapbook book or anything at the moment, but hopefully I'll be making something happen with that soon.
I would say give me and Oddball Magazine a call if you can't find a publisher, but something tells me I don't think you're going to have a problem finding a publisher. I think that's going to be an important book. And I think people are going to want to read it. I think it's going to really speak out. I wasn't sure what you were going to read, but I did want to at least say that It was the violence of, like, especially April, where I contacted you specifically, the violent acts and the murdering of sex workers at the time, where I wanted to get Stephanie to kind of comment on this. And unfortunately, everything is terrible. Things are happening at every second of our lives. It seems like it's happening in hyper time. So it's getting harder and harder to comment on the spot. And that's why I'm still trying to get that particular poet to read for us. If not next week, hopefully next month. So hard to get the right voices who I want to actually have comment on this. So little time. But Stephanie, I'm so glad you found the time. I'm glad your oven hasn't blown up during this time, because that would be my luck this week. And hopefully not. Thankfully, it's not yours. And hopefully you're going to be able to sleep in your apartment tonight safely.
Can I ask a question to Stephanie?
Yeah.
Sure.
How many women did you interview? How long was this process?
Oh, I actually didn't interview anyone for this.
Oh.
Kind of like using the interview genre to go off of.
As kind of a basis, like to help you make an outline.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. You're doing, I mean, there's the job of the poet, and then there's a step higher. I think you did a great job. That's important work.
Thank you so much.
And as she does not have a chapbook, but maybe she would be willing, if she has a Venmo account or a Cash App or a PayPal, if you want to put that information in there, I will share it with the group tomorrow on the Stone Soup website. And hopefully, I don't know how well it works, because we do have a lot of clientele who don't have, if this was a live reading at Boston, we'd be passing the hat, and there'd be many dirty bills that we'll probably be taking second looks at and reconsidering for at least another decade or so, given the pandemic. But for those of you who are able to pay online, if you do want to send me privately or just send in the group chat, and hopefully people will be able to send you a few shekels your way out of appreciation for the work that you did today.
Thank you.
Stephanie, do you have a PayPal?
Yeah, I do. I just put it in.
There it is. There it is. Okay. Yep.
I can go toward my submission fees as I start trying to send things out. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you can tell we clearly appreciate this, and hopefully you'll swing by, if not Boston, hopefully in the online world. Stone Soup will continue online in one form or another, whether or not we do go back to live readings or not in the next 6 months, in the next 3 to 4 months. But we hope we can see you again, and or at the very least, we see you again at the Boston Poetry Marathon.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to joining you again, and thank you again for having me. It means a lot.
Join us next week for a feature to be announced, and hopefully some wonderful voices coming up for the month of Jack Power's birthday, which I believe is on September 17th. And hopefully we'll have some special guests, and maybe half live, half broadcast, maybe all live. I'm going to start surveying people. I've been kind of putting it off because I'm just concerned for a lot of you out there listening, and I don't want to get anyone hurt. Last week in freaking Florida, of all places. I can now announce where I was. Parts unknown was actually Fort Lauderdale, and we had the vacation spot months prior. Our second choice was Cape Cod, which tells you how long ago this was. We made the choice. The fact that both were an option were crazy, but I do see how people are acting. I was actually in food restaurants where the food workers weren't wearing masks. That was scary. I had to run out, but point being is that, I hope everyone wherever you are are acting safe, and I hope you guys understand whatever choice I make, I'm making it with you in mind, and I'm going to still continue to give you the best poetry I can find out there. And I do appreciate friends of Stephanie, or maybe first-time listeners of Stephanie who are here at Stone Soup for the first time. I hope you guys come back. We're doing this every week. This week, it could be like it was tonight every week. All we need are you guys. All we need is you. And with that, I do promise you an announcement for a feature. If you go to the Stone Soup Poetry Facebook group, or if you go to my personal page at Chad Parento on Facebook, or if you go to Chad Poet for Hire chadparento.poetforhire.com. Just look up my name and you'll find way more websites than I have a right to have for my low popularity. And we will have that announcement shortly for at the very least next week, and hopefully an announcement of a big name that I'm hoping to bring to the Stone Soup Online Forum. Thanks to everyone who made comments for Stephanie and Stone Soup, and thanks in particular to Jan Rowe and James Van Looy. They're usually our most stalwart contributors on the open mic, but they, like a lot of silent people, are here to listen. So we do appreciate anyone who's coming here to listen. We appreciate anyone who's coming to the open mic, but the feature deserves our time, and I'm so glad you gave it. With that, we'll do the virtual wave that I screen capture. So if you have a video out there, please give me the wave if you can, and hopefully more announcements will be following. Oh, thank you, Cece. And so all of you, I hope you have a good night and take care of yourselves. Watch for this video in some form or another. I just realized the Facebook feed might still be going on, so we might actually have a full 100% view, show to view tomorrow. Thanks to all of you for coming. Thanks to Stephanie. I'll be reposting the PayPal link if you have not gotten it, but I hope you have. And please send a few shekels her way for submission fees. Let's help her make that book a reality. Have a good night, guys.
All right, save the chat.
They say
We
there's
will.
no mermaid parade. They canceled it.
See you guys soon, guys.